Welcome to our new speaker series at the Business Innovation and Growth Center here at Northeastern Illinois University called Big Ideas, Lessons from the Founders. And it's going to be a talk with small business and startup founders about their entrepreneurial journey and new business adventures. So thanks for joining us. This series is designed with the current and hopeful business owners in mind, hosted by me, Jessica Mueller, Executive Director of the Big Center. If you liked what you've learned here today, follow us on our social platforms at NEIU College of Business and Technology or on the web for more business big idea speakers, as well as events and resources. And of note, today's presentation will be recorded and we'll have time towards the end of today's event for questions. So let's get started. Today's, I'd like to welcome the NEIU alum duo, Adnan Masic, who has a bachelor's of management from 2017, as well as an MBA in 2021. And he is the founder of today's business, Fly. And we also have Adnan Colon. He has a bachelor's of management from 2018 and also an MBA in 2020. And he is the president of Fly, which is a StudyBuddy app and tutoring app designed for you in mind. They're going to share their entrepreneurial journey with you and how StudyBuddy LLC can provide a can help to positively transform the educational system. Masic and Colon will also propose how their innovative technologies can become the foundation of future learning, and with an emphasis on the importance of individualized instruction and student-centric learning. So thanks for being here today. And may I say congratulations.
Hey.
Yeah, on your journey thus far. I mean, you just graduated from NEIU.
Yep.
Yay to that. And
exciting times.
Feel like we're back in COVID with the Zoom calls.
We even shared the same classroom, both in person and remotely in this beautiful Zoom space. And now you're working on your platform, StudyBuddy LLC and the Fly app. So do you want to start by showing off your promo video? Hold on one second. Oh, sorry, I wasn't forwarding slides. There I am. There you are.
Yeah, happy duo.
Yeah, the happiest too.
Exactly. I couldn't cheese any harder.
So let's give the audience here today a little overview of your promo video about Fly and joining the swarm. So give me one moment to get to that share. Okay. Here we go. Scroll on. All right, can you see it? You start it.
Yeah.
Education is more than just books and memorization. It's the ability to grow networks that last a lifetime. Learning was never limited to the confines of just a classroom, but instead is an ever-expanding web of connections made in a lifetime. Fly is an innovative social networking app that bridges those connections for students, tutors, and universities in one easy-to-use app designed with simplicity and efficiency in mind. Students are not only empowered with the ability to build their own community where they can express themselves fully, but are also given access to a wide variety of tutors where, when, and how much they need them for. Tutors are granted the ability to build their own business without being taken advantage of. With Fly, tutors are charged with the lowest service fee in the industry, 10%, which allows tutors to charge a fair price for their services to their students without worrying if a company will take a big bite out of them. That's only one benefit Fly has to offer for our tutors. For universities, the possibilities are endless with Fly, but for now, we offer the ability for universities to add their tutors' schedules on the app and allows access for university tutors to view any upcoming appointments. Innovations are manifested by few, but without the help of others, its only destination is failure. Help us transition into the digital age and get connected now.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that.
Right.
Great promo.
Thank you.
I feel like my daughter has seen the the blonde woman with
Right.
Wagon finger.
You're a mascot for now.
Yeah, right.
mascot. So let's talk a little bit more about Fly, and I think you're able to share a demo too of the app.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so John's gonna get the phone started, but our minimum viable product mainly consists of student to student connection, student to tutor connection, and student to university connection. But go ahead and share the
screen.
Go ahead, share the screen.
Right now.
All right.
All right, we can see the screen good.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. All right,
Okay.
so obviously the icon is the Fly icon,
For
the
the
blue
student.
one for the students. For tutors, it'd be white.
Mhm.
So I can show that real quick, right in the corner down there, at the bottom.
Oh yes, I
Right,
see it.
Fly tutors. So yeah, we have two different applications, one for the students, one for the tutors. Kind of almost has like Uber has Uber drivers and then regular Uber. So we're gonna actually go onto the students.
The most important, obviously. Now, in the beginning, the student to student feature is a news feed where students can connect with each other. And again, when it comes to minimum viable product, you got all your necessities when it comes to liking, commenting, and even joining. So you can see as I posted myself a lot of poetry that I'm actually into, just to start up the organic and conversation amongst students. And then we got an admin panel that gives any related features currently to Northeastern or just startup conversations.
Yeah, and the biggest piece about this is we want to build a community within colleges and universities, especially NEIU, where we come from, we originate from. I mean, I look in the back of the classroom, I can see the desk I sat in 2 years ago when I kept forgetting my notebooks in the car.
Forgetting.
Yeah, we're gonna call it forgetting. But yeah, so we want to build that niche community because we see, students hang out, in the hall out there, they hang out in the cafeteria, they're all around. So how can we build a community and how can students get connected with one another? We believe that this feed is going to help by doing that. And how it does it is pretty much you put your student email in, and that kind of separates everybody from universities. So say if you go to UIC, you put your UIC email in, it shows everybody who goes to that school. So
But you can always switch.
you can, yeah, in case you want to transfer. If I'm at Wright College and I don't like Wright anymore, I want to come to Northeastern.
You're good to go.
You're good to go. So this is to help build the community within the school. And you can also, it's like your basic social media. You can make your post, share your thoughts. You can add a location feature. You can mention people. You can add videos, pictures.
Nice.
You go to the actual post itself. So there's 3 little buttons on the bottom. Obviously, one's to like a post, and then one's to comment on said post. And then the little button at the right corner there, that's to join. So say, hey, I have a management class. I have a stats class. I'm not good at math. I don't know why I got into business because I'm not good at math. I really need help in it, right? So I'm gonna put out there, hey, meet in the library. Who wants to join me? Instead of you saying, I'm gonna join you, you can just RSVP right on the post, and people will come join you study. We'll go back off of there.
And then the next feature that we have is connecting to more efficiently and to benefit both the students and tutors. So that is, you can do that by going to the search bar.
And then you're hard to hear. Can you get a little closer to the phone or your computer?
Yeah. Am I better now?
Yes.
Okay, so our second feature is connecting with tutors, and the ability to do that is going to the search bar. And for now, we have the basic layout where it's professional tutors and student tutors. Professional tutors are any tutors outside of the university, while student tutors are current students that are still within the university. As you can see, we only have 2. And again, this is mainly because we are beta testing currently in Northeastern. And this is just to get us off and up to par. So when you go to any tutoring session, you can actually go to and see the about tutor, the availability of the tutor, and the reviews, any current reviews.
Excellent.
So that's another feature we're trying to where we integrated in the app, and That's mainly to benefit the tutors because we noticed current tutor industries are kind of, again, like the video said, taking advantage of tutors with 40%, on average 40% fee while we're doing a 10% fee.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is like a lot of these companies, what they'll try to do is they'll set like ceilings or floors. A lot of times it's like you can only charge minimum $50. You could only charge $20.
Yeah.
That's it. So to make it fair and make it competitive with the tutors and to help them out, they can set their own price. You set your own hours. And it's all around your availability and then how much you think you're worth. If you think you're worth $100, God bless you, you're worth $100.
Yeah.
If you're like our CEO, and as you can see on the screen, worth $1, I mean, you're $1. It is what it is. So it just allows for the competitive nature of tutors, as long with making it your own. You can build this as your own business. Or it's like a side gig. You want to do it on the side. You're a professor, you're a teacher, want to make some extra money on the side, you can do that. And you can show off your knowledge, you know, with it. Moving forward.
I also like that individuals can rate their interactions, right, with the tutors if they're had a really great experience, very informative,
Definitely.
you know, got that A on that test that they were hoping for.
Yeah.
You know, give some feedback, give some love back to those who've helped you along the way. And also that builds your credibility as a tutor. So, you know, people don't want to mess around if they're here to get work done. You know, they want to make sure that they're going to be spending their time wisely with someone who knows the content, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it helps freshmen as well because they're able to see the tutors. Because you, especially when they're coming in, maybe they don't even know the tutor, so they just go to anybody.
Or the biggest problem I had, I mean, I could never find the tutoring center. Like they said, it's in this building and you go there and it's just like, well, I don't see anybody.
Yeah.
I don't see the person sitting there. Or then
They're
like,
off to lunch.
well, they're off to lunch. I've gone fishing and it's, you can never see anybody. So, and that, or you go and it's like, I work 50 hours a week. If I can't make it here at 11 a.m. and I
Right.
really need help with that math class, I'm bad at math. It's like, well, I'm out of luck. So
Right.
this kind of helps bring the tutoring to the student. It helps to have where the student comes first. Because if we look at a lot of the other companies, they kind of make it where the wait time to get a tutor is like, I think the one we saw that was like the earliest was like 3 days. And
Okay.
it's like, if I'm trying to cram for a test that's tomorrow, 3 days doesn't really help me now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But I
it
think
definitely kind of does that. Yeah.
I think you make a good point, you know, at Northeastern, and I'm sure at a lot of other universities, you know, some students are not on campus during regular, you know, business hours, right?
Right.
Because they're at work, you know, they're working full time and then taking coursework to, you know, hone a different skill or add a credential. And so, you know, much like myself, right, I was working and I started my MBA while I was working full time. So I wasn't here on campus when, you know, like the student tutors were available.
Right.
And this would allow for me to send a note, you know, while I'm studying at night and on the weekends, you know, to connect. with some students.
Exactly. And then even hindsight with on the tutor side, like if you do work, you know, a 9 to 5 and you want to do something extra, you can set that availability to work like 7 to 10, or you just want to do 7 to 8, you could set that. And with that, it matches the students and the tutors availability.
Mhm.
And it's best for both worlds. I need you now. And hey, this is when you're available.
Yeah.
And that, again, it builds a competitive nature within it. And again, we only take 10%, obviously for connecting you guys. A lot of the platform, you know, they're taking, and this is the reason why they're charging $150. Because if the guy or the middleman's taking, you know, 40%,
That's half your paycheck.
and I did all the work and all you did was connect us. Well, you know, of course I'm going to charge a lot to get at least a good chunk.
And on top of taking 40%, there's still.
Oh, Don, can you get closer?
Yeah.
It's cutting you out.
So I was mentioning that even when they take 40%, you think they would be at one point considered an employee, but they're still considered independent contractors.
I see.
And I remember Brandon, our previous operation head, he had people try to join a tutoring session, and they kind of have control over what you should be teaching, because he had 2 people apply, and the woman was more qualified than the husband, and she was told that she should only tutor K through 12, and the husband can do universities, even though she was more qualified than him. And it's like, if you're considered independent contractors, the company shouldn't have that much control over what you do, where, when you work and all that. It should be more of freedom, because at the end of the day, when you're considered independent contracting, you're running your own business. And you can't run your own business if another business is telling you what to do.
Well, I mean, and back to that referral, I think that kind of helps. It helps deliver a good product, right? Because as individuals are interacting with their tutors or providing tutoring, they're getting immediate feedback on those sessions. And that, gives feedback to those individuals, especially in the tutoring position, that they are teaching what was being requested of them, right? Not something tangential to that. So let's skip. Do you have any more to share with the app here?
Yeah, we'll go through real fast here. So pretty much under the search, you can do the tutors that I see. You can also look at posts. Sometimes you can favorite a post. You try to remember, hey, what did that person say? Or where was that thing going to be held at? What's going to be under your post, and you can research it. And then of course, all the students that go to the university. So as you can see, you have a few people.
Excellent.
A lot of people with no pictures, which is fine. We'll show you real quick how to upload those. So if you go back to the home screen, once you make your account, you log everything in, it'll bring you to the news feed right away. What you want to do is you want to go to that top circle icon in the top right corner. Go ahead and click that. And this is going to be like your own personal page. And again, and then the coolest thing about this, it tells you what field of study you're doing. So you can connect with certain people who are in the same field as you. And then you go to settings up top here. And then again, this is where you can add your picture and all your preferences, location. Again, the location's not shared. So don't be afraid. I'm putting my location out for everybody. It's not shared. This is more for when you order the tutor for in person, it kind of can tell the distance. Your headline, introduction, language, all that fun stuff. Just you change your password if you want to, gender, you don't have to pick a gender. It's totally up to you.
And the only other things we have currently is in the works. It doesn't have the full layout yet, but it's university tutoring session. Just for students specifically, I know that the university students that only work at Northeastern, and they're Northeastern related, and they don't want to go independent. They can at least put a scheduling and acceptance feature where they're at least organized. And the situation we mentioned earlier, where me and John went to a tutoring session and there was no tutors, doesn't happen anymore. So they know exactly hour by hour how many students they're projected to have. The next is your calendar feature, which just keeps you more organized from day to day. Eventually, we want to have it customizable, but for now, it holds everything on the list of events, all your tutoring sessions that you ordered, are currently having, and already had. So the gray ones are the ones that you already had. The orange ones are future dates, and blue marks are current 2-day tutoring session.
And it acts almost as like a digitized receipt. So not only is it, this is your planner, these are your receipts.
So if you go ahead and click on it, and it makes it a lot easier. Eventually, we do want to integrate TurboTax for tutors, so that way it makes it a lot easier, especially when it comes to independent contracting.
Definitely. And then you have your basic chat feature. You're going to go ahead and send direct messages with people. We all know how that works. And then one of the cooler aspects of this app, so this is the backpack feature. So pretty much what you do is you can upload files, pictures, like maybe if you have a homework you saved in your phone and you need help with the tutor, or you want to just help with other students, you can keep it in this backpack. And when you need it, you can pull it up
and send it to the tutor.
And then you can also, share the file with the tutor. So you don't have to carry around thousands of papers. You don't have to carry around the Army book bag that's 90 pounds on your back, right? You can easily just upload it here, paperless, eco-friendly. We like that. And we're good to go.
And also, I think that helps. Sorry, John or Adnan.
No,
I think that also helps with, if your session and you're not finished with your work together, that it can pull it back up.
Exactly.
And when you send a file to the tutor, that initial period between like the introductions, for example, if you're getting paid an hour by hour, I want the tutor to know exactly what my problems are. And for me not to waste that first 10, 15 minutes telling you what I need help on.
Perfect. So over here is where you would add your card information. You says add new card, you put your card in, and then you could go ahead and add balance to the account. So if you want to add like $15, go ahead, add funds, it loads it on there. And then obviously at the bottom is again, another digitized receipt, your transaction, and it also shows like your recharge history as well, how much you put on there.
And we do charge 5% fee to students, but in comparison to a 15% fee from other students.
Sorry,
still a lot.
you're going out again, the audio.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we do charge a 5% fee to students. So let's say your session is $10. That's what extra 50 cents or so, I believe. Basically, the reasoning for that is because we just wanted to have a total of 15% income coming in. And usually other tutoring industries charge upmost of 15%. So we're still cutting a lot of them or the fees as much as possible, just to help everybody out and decrease the total amount of cost per session.
Exactly.
And
Okay, so
that's the
Yeah,
main
that's-
demo from the app.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the demo for the app. It's pretty straightforward. Again, this is the minimum viable product. So, we are working on changing a few things, and that's what we want to hear from everybody. We want to hear, hey, what works for you? What doesn't work for you? What features do you like? Would this feature work for you? Just to make it a better overall experience for the user.
Definitely.
Yeah, it looks really great. I mean, it looks very friendly to a user, and both as someone who's getting tutored and as a tutor providing tutelage. I thought it was really easy, easy to use. It looks really nice.
And then that was like the main thing going into it. And then we'll go into a little bit of how when we actually started the process. We'll leave that for that time. But yeah, we had easy use in mind was always a thing. We didn't want to make an app where you had buttons that you don't use, things that don't work, features that are useless that people will never use. It clunks up the page. I'm more of a less is best type of guy. So, make something that looks clean and nice to use.
creative. And we definitely wanted to have it where you kind of already know how to do it.
Right.
Because of other features that are coming, it just makes the user interface a lot more easier to filter, and you just don't gotta run around every bit. They're wondering what does this button do? What does this button do? It's clean, easy, and good to go.
Definitely.
So tell me a little bit about that app creation, or at least your business creation. How did you come to this conclusion or this product? And how did you know, like, this is a services you want to offer? Tell me a little bit about the history there.
Yeah, so I was always that kid that sat in the back of the classroom and fell asleep or just didn't kind of pay attention. But I still was able to pass.
honest.
Never saw you sleep again, don't worry.
But basically how it happened is in undergrad, we were in the car and we usually just stay in the car, hang out, get some ideas in. And I was one of those people that thought of Uber Eats before it was actually out. And I'm like, man, one day I'm in the car and John and my other friend were talking. I'm like, man, the university doesn't really have any application-based product that's actually benefiting the student. And everything's old tech where you still got to sign in and everything like that. What if you just had something with tutors where you can just order it and then you still had the news feed and basically integrate in the digital age? Because I know that was one thing that I found frustrating is how everything, at least when I was going there, was very old school and unintegrated with the modern society. And that's what came about. And that usually stayed a dream, like a daydream, till we met Brad in our entrepreneurship class. And his whole class was mainly, hey, pitch an idea and this is going to be your project and you're going to build a business model around it. And if I like it, I'm going to try to help you as much as possible to try to get it out. And I pitched it. And I personally, especially how it evolved from just like, a newsfeed. Now we have other features we have already in mind that we want to integrate.
Right.
And yeah, that's mainly how it came about.
Yeah, I mean, it's really started in that classroom, building that model. I mean, you're already building a model, right? And it's, I remember I pitched like some green, gluten-free burger joint, 50s theme for some reason. That's what I had in mind for the class. But then he brought up the originally it was gonna be called StudyBuddy, but then further investigations like, well, somebody already has that.
Yes.
But I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You had that idea. Okay, we'll go with that because I don't want to do the green gluten-free vegan thing. So, we kind of went with the fly. I think over time as we're building it, we're getting more and more intrigued. Like, hey, what about this aspect? What about this feature? What about this? And it just kind of snowballed into where we're at now, into an actual business. Yeah, I mean, and then going through the phases of actually the next, when you take it outside of a classroom, that's when you really get to see like, okay, hey, this is, what it is. When you're in the classroom, okay, hey, this is nice. You're theoretically talking, right? Like, hey, okay, this would happen if we were in the, real world. But then when you get to the real world, it's like, okay, this is how we have to do things that go about things. So it's definitely been a great experience, a great learning, a big learning experience for a lot of
many
things.
learning experiences.
But that's where we're at. And that's the way this is such an enjoyable thing. But if it has something to start as so innocently as just a school project, I mean, we've all heard that story, right? But to have it start so innocent like that and to be a part of it and build it, it's kind of for me, a really big thing.
An amazing thing,
Because eventually, I wasn't even gonna go to the master's program after I graduated my bachelor's degree. I thought it was like, oh, I'm good to go. I got the degree, ready to go in the real world.
And I was annoying.
He was like really like, oh, we should do the master's, and I'm like, slow your roll. I just finished. Let's have a beer and talk about it. Fast forward, like maybe like 2 months later, my mom had passed, and that was like a really big eye-opening thing. And I was like, you know what, for her, let's go in this and let me do this, and then, we get to the last semester, the last class, and then this is an elective class because I didn't want to do math. That's really what it comes down to, guys. I did not want to do math. And he was like, well, let's do this math class. Right. It's like in business, I just didn't want to do another math class. And I was like, let's do this entrepreneurship class. I feel like it's going to be a paper at the end, but nah, let's do it. I prefer that over math. I'll write. I can write all day. And then obviously we get into Brad's class, and it's just like almost fate lines up.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of luck, a little bit of fate, and a lot of hard work.
Yeah. And today we have Professor Schaefer here today. So cheering you on.
Here we are.
Yeah, of course.
You can see him with the barely grown beard, Oh, it's a full grown beard. It's fully grown.
It's full grown now. Took me a few months, but it's full grown.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun to watch John and Otto work through this, and when we get to the Q&A, I've got a couple questions for them so they can answer, so the audience can learn from it. But it really did play out the way they, as innocent as they described it, and then they got excited, and that excitement's held them for the last 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
So tell us.
I'm even more excited for the future.
Tell me a little bit more about those learnings. You said a few times you've learned a lot along the way.
Yeah.
Well, definitely one big learning aspect is being durable, because one big learning aspect is being durable, because starting a startup is not for the faint of heart. You're gonna get frustrated, you're gonna get mad, things are gonna go wrong. Nothing ever really goes to plan, because initially the plan was to start development in Ukraine. Because initially we wanted to, we had like a binder full of our mock-up, and we gave it to Ukraine because they were the Ukrainian company, and they wanted to build a free mock-up for us. And I believe they got 50 or 75% done, but then they gave us a quote like around halfway through or anything that's going to be between $50,000 to $100,000, and we're just like,
right. We're looking at that like, it's at $100,000.
And then they kind of sensed that and just stopped replying to us. And
The app, you mean, to build the app.
Yeah.
to build that.
To further the progression of it.
Yeah, but luckily we had the mock-up, which they gave us like a Figma version, just to like the design portion, which was halfway done. And I remember I had to go 2 days straight just learning how to do Figma just to finish it up, because we're set to present to the dean of CBT. And I remember just having to grind it out, but it ended up working out because the whole war in Ukraine we might have paid them money, but then it might have just got connected because of the whole war in Ukraine.
Right.
So it's funny how life gives you disappointment, but at the end, it's like, well, was it a disappointment?
And then
You know?
even like too, like a lot of what we've done is kind of like obviously we've done a lot. So we had to cut the cost. So one of the biggest ways we did it in the beginning, backtracking a little bit. So we used Microsoft Prototype. And what that is just a function. You can have a blank screen and you build your, you know, whatever you're building, right? So we start off by making, okay, here's the screen when you first log on the app. And then it turns into, okay, well, what happens when you click this screen? Okay, you got to make a whole new screen. What happens if you click this button? Got to make another screen. So one page screen turns into like 135 page binder full of screens.
And the worst part is the initial screen we built, we forgot to save it and it all got deleted. So we had to remake it twice.
Yeah. So going through
Yeah.
that process, and then you give, and then it's just like kind of making your ideas a reality, right? So what you have on this little piece of paper of the screen, you have to give it to somebody else so they can envision it and put it in actuality. So piggybacking off of that, after the training thing, we were like, okay, well, we don't have $100,000,
but crypto started to go off.
yeah.
And I was a big, I researched crypto since investing and I started investing in that. But I would always dollar cost average. So I would always put like 50 or $100 after each paycheck working full time. And then eventually I accumulated up to $6,000. And then that $6,000 actually flipped to around close to $75,000 to $100,000. And I was like, okay, well, we can put 25K down. I can quit my job, use 50K just for living expenses. And John's like, well, I have a 401K that was saving out most of my life. So I can get a loan out for my 401K and put 25K down. I'm like, okay, so we have 50K. And then we're like, oh, let's find a development group. And previous student also that we went to school with mentioned Fiverr, and we had a meeting. And we found a cheap development because we figured out that we already have Figma and the prototype and it's ready to go. We just need somebody to put the codes in place. We have exactly how it's supposed to look and everything. And that's where we found the first development group. And this is where it gets choppy because they said that they were going to finish around 6 to 7 months. And they did initially finish, but a week later, apparently Firebase, which has a backend system, or Firebase has connected with the app, did an update which messed up not only our app, but most of the apps that they had already built.
No.
So so we got it in the 6, 7 months, but then everything got messed up just because of a Firebase update.
Or are you coding fans?
Yeah, everything, like it started glitching and everything, and we were just like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah,
You
so
know.
pretty much a 8-month, like, hey, we need to spend an 8-month turned into like what, a year
Year and a half, almost 2
year and
years.
a half almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like pretty much like, and mind you, so the developers were in India, so we can only have communication with them from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah,
Right. So
that's why I had to quit my
yeah,
job.
he was doing all-nighters, and we would stay up and like test the app, and we would tell them, okay, hey, here's what needs to be fixed. They send it back. We'd have to do it again. Still not working. Like a lot of things was like, and that's a difficulty of kind of working with like something overseas, right? Because you have to have somebody up to kind of give them codes, give them different things, and also like, hey,
following up
right?
and
So
double checking all their work, because if you don't say anything, you can so if you're not double checking anything in one of the work, you might be overpaying for something that was supposed to get done
right.
that you already paid for. And after I'm a 3 strike type of person, because they try to fix it once, twice, and after the 3rd
3 times
time,
a lady.
I'm just like, hey guys, this is not going to work out. I'm going to need a different development team. And we found a current development team, which I kind of like. They're decent. And the main reason I like it is because the company is not just based in India, but they have a Chicago location, an India location, in Europe, all over the places.
Yeah.
And the reason I like that is you can actually get ideas and scaled, once you scale the business higher, you can get ideas and almost have development process working 24 hours if the communication is on point with everybody within the organization.
Yeah, so I would say the two biggest lessons learned from that developing phase was pretty much
Grit.
no, well, grit for sure, but know when it's time to go.
Yeah,
Because if you see like, you know, we all want to be nice and you all want to give people chances, but it's like, no,
Three
when it's your
strikes.
time to go,
yeah,
if they're costing you more than what, you know, if you're anything,
Yeah.
right? It's time to kind of maybe move on. And that's one thing we had to learn is, you know, it's that risk factor, right? So
Mhm.
we gave them all this money, you know, and by the way, also another lesson learned is make sure, you know, you get something for your money. Don't do a payment plan like we had to.
Yeah.
And, you know,
get the product out. Well,
right.
originally,
Half now, half
yeah,
later,
yeah.
always work. But no one is take that chance. Like, hey, we put all this money in and we have to go with somebody else and spend more money. But is it better for the business to do that and get away from people who obviously aren't working versus just sticking with them and hoping for the best and paying more money for something that doesn't work? So exit strategy is always the biggest thing when it comes down to it. Because it's like, again, you don't want to be that guy that just sits there
Yeah.
and just says, well, let's keep going with these guys. They're nice.
Yeah,
You know,
And
they
then-
told me happy birthday. Let's just keep going with it.
but the reason I had such a difficult time and I gave them 3 strikes in the beginning is because they had a lot of creative solutions, and there was a good portion of the app that wasn't on the prototype that they added free of charge. But it's like there's no point of doing all that if the app doesn't work, you know.
Sure.
And again, it goes to I still like that development team, but at the end of the day, business is business. And if you can't get it done, you can't get it done. No matter how much I like you,
Right.
I gotta put the business first.
Right.
in front
Yeah,
of
yeah, I think
know.
that's a good point, right? It might start off working well for you, right? And as you're exploring in exploratory phases, you don't really know what to expect.
Exactly.
Aside from okay, this is gonna cost me X amount and I'm hoping
Right.
this is the
Exactly.
product at the end, but I think what you explained was that there's also a tactful way of doing things in business, and just that it's not working well anymore for us at this point. But it's important that you pivot. So if you still want to see this go
Exactly.
through, you know, being flexible, pivoting when you need to, being able to identify if, you know, things aren't working out is really valuable to know.
Definitely.
So what are some short-term and long-term plans? You mentioned something before about some features that you are tinkering around with. What are some of those goals and long-term goals for Fly?
So our short-term goals include 1, getting a venture capitalist, 2, doing a complete beta test and feedback within Northeastern, so we can start rolling out in the Illinois region. So being able to connect with other universities within Illinois after beta testing.
What we're saying is we need you guys. You got to
Yeah.
be part of something big here.
Yeah, definitely. Again, just like the video said, manifestation can be only done by few, but without the help of others, its only destination is failure. And I truly do believe that. Our long-term goals, it involves updates and giving multiple streams of revenue for the tutors. For example, we want to give a live streaming feature where, let's say, a tutor can go on a live stream, anybody can join, and they can give tips to the tutors as they're teaching on video about, let's say, algebra or anything like that. So $1 tip to answer your question here, and there, and we'll still try to maintain a low service fee of 10% after the video is completed.
Right.
Another feature, we want to integrate AI-based systems to help not only give a layout of your whole book, but so you can answer questions and learn interactively while you're doing it. And it gives a database set of everything you need help with and be able to send it to any tutors or professors.
Right.
And it can explain it with a chat feature on top of that. And we have some other
Yeah, I
Really
mean, eventually
big
we're gonna
ideas,
roll
but-
out to like, so right now we're in universities. Eventually we want to roll out to parents because we don't want to have, you know, teenagers ordering their own tutors, right? So we want to make sure that the parents can feel comfortable ordering their child a tutor. And then that's just huge between just K through 12 alone. That the business, you know, researching and looking into the marketing aspect of it, it's a huge business, right?
Mhm.
So, and then another thing we didn't touch on is with the professional tutors, they're all background checks. So if we make sure if they say they went to Harvard, they went to Harvard.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is too, we also want to incorporate like, hey, you know, maybe if I'm good at piano, I can teach piano lessons. You can incorporate that. You're
And
good at
coaching.
basketball coaching,
Yeah.
we can do that. So we have a different avenues we also want to take. We kind of want to get another tab on there too later on down the road, where it's like companies can add like pretty much the Indeed of our app. So companies can add like posts on there about like, hey, we have this job opening for, you know, whatever, right? So that kind of
Like
helps
apply
us-
professional.
yeah, that kind of helps the
tab.
students, you know, they have their community base, right? They can talk to everybody when they need to. They have educational help. They can order tutors when they need to. And we want them to be able to get like a job, you know, maybe coming outside of it and offering these companies, hey, here are your graduates. They're right here, right? So have your posts on there, have some app job, you know, postings on there, so you can get those people. Because a lot of times they just throw ads out there and they're hoping for the best. So this kind of incorporates everything onto one app.
So basically it revolves in, you know, student-centric learning, right? The whole premise of it is to eventually get educational learning independent by the student and to focus on the weaknesses that they need help. And eventually down the line, this has the ability to reduce class sizes, because if you think of it, if the student has all of their ability, including like standard of a classroom based in the app on how to learn a specific subject, then you're reducing the class sizes, because now they can order the tutors or professors or meetup times on specific needs for the student. And obviously each student has different needs on what they're struggling with and what they're not. And this can basically revolutionize the whole educational system around just student-centric learning and increasing the value and quality of each learning session between students, professors, and students.
Right. And then even piggybacking off of that, using, like you said, the AI, like in terms of like, hey, the classroom's learning about the sun, having something where like you could go to the sun through like virtual
AR.
headsets or
Yeah.
AR and stuff like
Yeah.
that. We also would love to incorporate that later on down the road, of course. But the big picture right now for us is kind of creating that university engagement, creating that networking platform, right? Because you know, this wouldn't have happened if we weren't hearing networking, right?
Yeah.
None of this would be a thing if we didn't go to a class, network, meet, network. So the biggest thing we want to do now is let people know, hey, there is this avenue that you can use to network with other students that you may not even have met because they're on, you know, they're in BBH, you're all the way over here in, you know, CBT, you know, you have the same interest, the same, you know, everything, hobbies, whatever you know,
And that was the
call
whole
it.
premise of COBM, College of Business Management, integrating college of business technology, because now you have the business majors, technology majors
Right.
together, and when you have people from different backgrounds working together, that's when you get true innovation and disruptive technologies. And I do love my disruptive technology.
It's always a good thing. And innovation is just that, right? You know, it's being the first version, you know, the novel idea, the novel application to solve another problem. And I enjoy this conversation about like co-opting education, right? You're getting additional ambassadors, right, to help, in this case, professors, right? So they have office hours, but again, limited. And if you're teaching students who need additional hours from you, this is a great avenue, right? Tap the peers, which I know I've done countless times, is tap my peer network. And now not only can I do that, but I can have my professor, I can have my network, I can have this other tool of to help me with my education.
Right.
Not only that, but you know, they're verified in a variety of ways. Not only the background, but you know, they have been referred by other people or have
Right. Reviewers, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You at least have some type of base to make a good quality judgment for your education.
Right.
Yeah.
And another biggest thing is too, like this app is for students. Like we believe in privacy. I know a lot of the social media apps, they kind of sell the data. We do not, you know,
Yeah, no data.
we make sure that your data is secure. We don't even have access to it. That's how encrypted it is. And then we want to make sure this is for the students. You know, we want to have the freedom to be like, man, that test was hard, you know, without having to get any like flack of, you know, whatever the case may be, right? So this is strictly for the student.
And that's why we're hoping maybe once we establish connections to integrate with the system itself, and you know, each well beware, you know, because we might try to basically have like one big application where all your educational needs is met with our application. Whatever you need when it comes to education, learning, or anything in that sorts, it's met with us. And the only other thing I believe I wanted to mention is the long-term goal is to transform educational one way or the other. And even whatever avenue we have to take, the whole goal is to help the next Otto and John.
Yeah.
Put the next trail in for the next us, so it's easier, and maybe they don't have to go through all the obstacles that we had to, so they can learn from us.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what this is all about, right? Is making sure the next generation has the tools they need to be successful too.
Exactly.
I want to spend a few minutes for questions, but I have one more thought. If you wanted to share with the audience here, would be you mentioned a few times about the monies that you put in, the initial investment of your own monies. You talked about revenue streams, you know, having the percentages from the students, or from the tutors and from the students, and your goal of getting into venture dollars, right, for investment. What does it all look like for you? I mean, and to feel comfortable, right, moving this forward and having it be your income, for your gainful employment for yourself. A lot of people don't want to do this because they're not sure if this is going to be,
it's risky,
right, and they're not sure if this is going to be good for them, right? Or people do it on the side just because they're not at the point of leaving their full-time, not only full-time, but steady income, right?
Right.
How do you make time for this and that and everything in between? So
yeah, you definitely got to lose a lot of sleep. That's one.
And the biggest thing is
Okay, fair enough.
dedication, you know, dedication, right? Because, you know, right now I'm currently still working 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
And my days honestly consist of going to work, doing what I do there, coming home, you know, doing my errands. And then like at 10 o'clock at night, I'm working on marketing stuff. I'm working on different things. So it's really just a dedication. How bad do you want it, honestly?
Yeah. And of course, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
You need to communicate, John, effectively how he can help me in one aspect, and him being able to pick up the slack on something that I might fall short, and we do the same thing, and kind of having those checks and balances in place.
For sure.
Where it's like, when one person gets discouraged, it's like, nah, we got to keep going. Right. And then the other person gets discouraged and the same reaction happens.
Right. Yeah. Teamwork, it can't stress it enough how pivotal it plays, just because like one person can't do it, right? I'm telling you right now, one person alone cannot do it. You need help from other people. And
unless
like,
you specifically have the money in place. Or,
for sure.
You know,
For sure.
That still, like, it's so much easier just to have like that teammate to go with you in the battle, rather than just taking everything on by yourself.
For sure.
the battle of the app landscape.
Exactly. Exactly. See, he has no hair. He's stressing out.
Yeah.
See?
My hairline reduced every time they told me it's not ready yet.
Exactly.
You and me both. We got Brad over here growing hair. And I'm
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're growing a full
He
beard.
took
and
my
he's a
hairline, put it
dryer.
on his face.
Yeah, sorry, Otto.
All right, that's where his hair went. No wonder. That one's all-
Let's turn it over for questions or thoughts, comments.
Guys, I'm curious, outside of the app development, the biggest upside surprise and the biggest challenge outside of that, because you talked a lot about challenges in the app development, which is very obviously informative, but I'm curious, outside of that, what have you kind of, run across good on the good side and bad side?
So I'd say the biggest challenge in general for at least myself is the mental fortitude. The little voices in your head that says like, hey,
Stop now.
stop now. You already what if you lose all your money? You had so much money, you could have
Yeah.
did something simpler and made money, then do the app. Or like just those like voices where it's just like, hey, like this might not work, or like that. Just getting over those mental hurdles, I feel like at least for me was the most challenging
100%.
because now you're fighting yourself, and it's hard.
Right.
That's one of the hardest battles is fighting yourself, and then maintaining that composure when you're talking to somebody else.
Right.
Because it's hard for me to be told like, hey, the app's not ready and we need more money. My initial reaction is to get mad. It's like, why aren't you doing this? But at the end of the day, just getting mad is not going to solve the issue. It's calming down, feeling the emotion, understanding the emotion, and then making a strategic plan after you gathered yourself after like so many obstacles.
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, piggybacking off of that, I mean, it's so easy when somebody tells you, hey, that sucks, for you to be like, yeah, screw off. Like, it doesn't matter what you think.
Yeah.
But when you're internally like, I don't know, buddy, like you're taking a big jump here. Like, I don't know if you should do that. To have that inner battle with yourself, but then again, push forward and push ahead. I think that's been honestly the biggest challenge. Just, hey, should we stop? Should we keep going? What's your stopping point? And it's just like, once you break past that, I think honestly the sky is the limit.
So yeah, definitely self-doubt and ego.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like when you do something and it doesn't work out, that the ego aspect, like when you do something and it doesn't work out and you thought it was gonna be amazing, right?
Yeah.
It's like having that time to step back and be like, okay, this didn't work, but how can we make it better? How can we improve on it? And then of course the biggest, like personally outside of it, is just watching I think the whole journey. And I don't want to be cliche and be like with people in the songs and the things, but like it's the journey that matters. It's the climb. But
The
it
journey
really
kinda
is the
sucks,
climb though. It really is the
Because,
climb.
Miley.
relate
I'm not talking about the Miley Cyrus song either.
and then
Oh,
relating,
no, not my, no, Miley.
but relating to the best aspect of it, Brad, is when you go through a bunch of stuff that's like and overcoming and overcoming and overcoming, and then you finally finish development. Like I cried when they finally told me like, hey, it's ready for the app store, it's good to go, like you could start getting
It was like a man
I'm like,
here,
oh my,
like a one.
I never experienced that type of emotion in my life. It was just so much. It was a combination of relief, happiness.
For sure,
Like,
for sure. And it's
it's
just like, for me, it's just the fun of just like starting an LLC, doing all this paperwork, creating something from nothing. Like, it's like when you write a paper, like a 10-pager, and you're like, man, this was a blank page when I started.
Yeah.
It's that feeling. It's that feeling. It's like, man, I did this.
The only type of thing I could say is like you see emotion and you see somebody that's almost like the emotion I felt like when I finally finished development, because it's like after grinding and practicing and working and it not going
right,
and then you have your losses and
for
and then
sure.
you finally like get to the end point. Is just I can't even explain.
It's like that one meme from the Lord of the Rings where it's like it's over, it's all over with Frodo on it. That's how it feels. After he destroys the ring, it's like I did it. It's over.
I get it now.
That's how definitely how it is. It's just the journey, I think, is the best. That climb.
It's the combination of the journey and then eventually the journey making the end goal even more sad.
Definitely.
All right. So if I oversimplify, because it sounded like your good and bad were related, so it was both the climb, but the bad was when you fell on the climb, and the good was when you climbed back up and kept
And how do you
going.
pick yourself back up, pretty much?
Yeah, and I think that's a good lesson for anyone who's trying to start is know that it's a climb, know you're going to fall, and know you can climb back out of it.
Yeah,
and I think
exactly.
that, it just as one of those lessons that I think you guys know well, and trying to condense it down really briefly is, I don't think you knew that walking into it. I would say 2.5 years ago, you knew there was a climb. You probably didn't realize you'd fall as much.
Right.
For real, it just felt like you were falling on it.
Right, and that's the biggest thing. Like people walk into things, right, and it's like it's that ego factor, right? You think like, oh, this is gonna be the best thing ever. We're great, and then it's like, what do you mean this happened, or what do you mean it didn't go through, or oh, how can I? It's like, oh, okay, well, let me take a step back, reevaluate and push forward. That's honestly the biggest factor. Because again, we agree. Didn't think we'd hit as many hurdles as we did along the way. It didn't feel like the hurdles. It feels like the dude who hits the hurdle and if you hit all the hurdles as you roll,
Yeah.
that's how it felt. But at
And
the
when-
end, you still finish.
And usually when it rains and it pours, because on top of that, you have
Yeah.
like personal problems, personal life people. On top of like
Yeah,
just going to the business
yeah,
problem,
for sure,
you know, it was like a ball of stress.
for sure, for sure.
But you can only take one day at a time, right? Every day,
Yep.
work a little
Exactly.
bit, take one step, hit one task off your to-do list. And, at the end, and it's not even the end, right? You have
Exactly.
these milestones, right? That are, as you said, brought you to tears, right? When you got that on the app store and that was your
Yeah.
milestone. And now you have new goals.
Right,
It's kind of like with working out. It's like, does it ever get easier? No, because
right,
you add new goals for yourself, some new
Exactly.
challenges. Because
Right.
you're
The
good, you're
journey
good
only
with
ends
this.
when you stop walking.
yeah. And then the thing is too, it's like we were always saying during the development aspect, we're working hard to get to the end to start. And like, that doesn't even make any sense,
Yeah.
but it does at
Right.
the same
Yeah.
time.
That's why they call commencement, in my opinion.
Exactly,
Right? When
exactly.
you graduate, it's called commencement. Didn't I just?
Right,
say
exactly.
that?
Ring the bell. Here's your degree.
You
Yeah.
end started.
Right, exactly. It's an end
It's
start.
the start of something new, right? It's the start of a new
Yeah.
journey, a new chapter.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well, thank you for sharing all that with us. I really appreciated this conversation and for you spending time with us today and taking us through the demo.
Definitely.
We learned a lot, and I hope that individuals will jump on to your app to empower themselves as learners and to find tools to engage with their peers in a network that can help them with their education and beyond. I mean, and hobbies, right? It sounds like, right? Jump on there if you want to learn how to be a better
Exactly.
pop player. I don't know.
Like something, anything.
Well, again, we need the users in order to verify our minimum viable product work.
Yeah.
So it definitely we need you guys to start getting on board. So eventually we have the leverage in order to get the event.
Right. Well,
And
the biggest thing too is like see what works for you guys, it doesn't work. I'm talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Once you're watching this on the recording, I sat back there. We're in CBT 149. I sat back there in that back chair over there because I didn't want to sit up front. But we were you guys, right? We were here. We walked these halls. We went through the same classes you did. We went through the same syllabuses. I'm sure they haven't changed. I went through the same lessons, the same projects. So we know, we get it. And we weren't too far off from where you're at right now. And that's why we want to kind of give back to you guys, the student, to kind of, again, build that community, make your friendships, build your relationships, and just join your community. Because the community is here. And we wanted to make sure that you are a part of it.
and as an added incentive, we're gonna take one user out of the first 100 users and give them $100 cash. And we
Sorry,
have a
Otto.
second giveaway.
Adani, we can't hear you. And this is like the
We're
incentive.
talking about the giveaway,
Yeah,
right? And
The giveaway. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so from the first 100 users who download the app, we're gonna pick a random user and give them $100 cash. The second giveaway, we're gonna announce on the app, but as a hint, it involves posting.
Right. So you gotta join. You gotta
Right.
download it.
You gotta refer.
We're gonna share the website. You go to studybuddyfly.com. And right there is where you can download it for both Android and iPhone. Android comes first. I'm an Android guy. But if you could download it, both apps, tutor, if you want to be a tutor, if you want to be a student, we shared it in the chat right now. And then the cell phone number just to directly connect with us. Obviously, we're still a small business. But yeah, join us, join your community.
And if you want to give me a text, with any information, text, my phone number is right there, 773-315-124. So just let me know and let us know how we can help you further.
Definitely.
Great, thank you. So
I have to give
in the
that
chat,
little
you
throw up sign for your Android green text box.
So in the chat here, you see studybuddyfly.com, and you connect with John and Adnan on through text or call, their call line there, phone number, also known as phone number. But thank you so much for this. And as far as the innovation, the Business Innovation and Growth Center at NEIU goes, we are going to be rolling out more of our founder stories and entrepreneurial journeys through web and in person as we move forward. Our next one will be March 14th with to explore your shine, sharpen, and share to reroute your roadmap of your life with a founder, Marty Jalove from Master Happiness. And then we also have our, coming up next week is our International Business Conference. And that's our annual premiere event for us to bring international professionals together, consulate business students to talk about everything A to Z business. So that'll be March 6 and 7, Monday and Tuesday. Hope that's a 6 and 7, yeah. But again, I want to say thank you to the founder and president of Fly, StudyBuddy app. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for being here with us. And
Thank
for
you.
having
Thank you for
us.
all this. Download it. You see our flyers in the hall. Download it.
Gotta
Download
get
it.
your $100 in.
yeah, get your $100. Get your you know,
Get
all
your
that. So,
incentive that's going to be announced soon. You know,
Sure.
have fun. That's what this is about. So,
all right,
And connect with each other and help each other, of course.
everybody have a great afternoon, and we will see you next time. Take care.
take care, guys. Thank you.